Question: has there ever been a
History is repeating himself by Jimmy High Roller. Let's see what he's talking about. Dang. Oh, he just dropped it. That's why.
player throughout NBA history quite like Nikola Jokic? A big man that can give you a quiet 30 a night, passes the ball like he's got eyes on the back of his head, and can dominate games without getting more than 6 inches off the ground. What about Steph? There's been countless great shooters throughout the league's history, but what about a shooter who can come off of screens and hit shots from 30 feet out while being chased down like a criminal? I've always wondered if players like these are truly one-of-ones, or if the blueprint for these players was laid out years ago. But today, I found my answer. While doing some research, I found this website called Crafted NBA. It has some of the most advanced NBA data available today, and with this data, they have created some interesting algorithms and predictive models, one of them being their historical similarity app. Within their database is every single season by every single player who played at least 500 minutes in the NBA since 1978. Choose any player, and the site will give you a complete scouting report with a bunch of stuff. Shot quality, free throw rate, offensive load, portability, a crafted offensive and defensive plus minus, and every other convoluted metric you can possibly conjure up. It gives every player a value for each metric based on their performance and then rates them based on where they rank compared to other players across the league. For example, Nikola Jokic is about as good as it gets when it comes to shooting efficiency, playmaking, and offensive versatility. Now, here's the catch. This algorithm takes all of these ratings and percentiles and compares them to their entire database to find the most similar player throughout NBA history. And guess what? There was a player like Nikola Jokic in the NBA years before he came into the league, and his name was Larry Bird. But I didn't just run Jokic through this similarity app. I ran it for Luka and Giannis and Steph and LeBron and Durant and a lot of other players to find the most similar players of the past to our biggest stars of the present. And some of their comparisons may surprise you. Today's video is sponsored by ShipStation.
Love you, gang. But
an excellent player, can score, pass, rebound, but is he a one-of-one? We've seen these attributes and skills in many other greats of the past. Crafty, versatile, oversized.
I mean, no player is truly one-on-one though. Like, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna copy their game, or probably just random without really noticing that they are similar to that person.
Perimeter players. For me, his doppelganger has always been Prime Harden. But what do the numbers say? Well, Crafted NBA's similarity app has the answer. And according to over a dozen advanced metrics that lay out the very specific and unique facets of Luka's game and production, he is actually most similar to a young Tracy McGrady, with a similarity score of 85%, specifically a young McGrady in 2004. Although Luka is a better passer and McGrady shot more threes relative to the league at the time, these two have striking similarities with their shot quality and offensive creation. Luka is a better rebounder, but defensively they fall within the same exact percentile of sub-average, with an offensive game that more than makes up for it. The next most similar players for Luka were 2005 Kobe Bryant, 2000 Grant Hill, and 2005 Mike Bibby. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo has cemented himself as an all-time talent over the last half-decade. But similar to Luka, we've seen this player before. In today's league, it's difficult to find an appropriate comparison as physically imposing and athletic bigs have seemed to become a thing of the past. So that's where we'll go to find the most similar player. And I'm sure you can guess who it is. According to the similarity app, the most similar player to Giannis is 2006 Kevin Garnett, with a similarity score of 85%.
Just say Shaq.
Phenomenal post scorer who also led the league in rebounding, was not limited to the paint but operated within it most of the time, and was one of the league's best, most versatile defenders with his length and athleticism. In fact, Giannis and Prime KG aren't just similar, they are almost identical, with offensive and defensive metrics that are almost impossible to tell apart. KG was a better shooter and rebounder, but every other metric is virtually the same, from their efficiency to their offensive versatility to their passing. The next most similar players to Giannis are 1993 David Robinson, 1993 Karl Malone, and 2002 Tim Duncan. Next, I wanted to take a look at a player who might actually be a true one-of-one.
Yeah.
Steph Curry has taken a skill set that was crafted and polished by sharpshooters that came before him and perfected it. But who before him was the closest thing to what we see from Curry today? Any guesses? Here's a hint. It's the other greatest shooter of all time. If you said Ray Allen, you'd be correct. But not this Ray Allen or this Ray Allen, but this one. 2001, young, flying around the court, pull up off the dribble Ray Allen, with the highest similarity score yet of...
No, I just said the Kings. Oh my god. Let me stop talking. I meant Bucks, bro.
88%. Curry and a young Ray Allen expectedly share most things in common. They're all-time...
Look at this jersey, bro. I forgot that, like... This was they colors back then, bro. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the
great shooting efficiency and shot quality, their offensive portability, and their perfectly average defense. Curry is a better playmaker and is capable of carrying a heavier offensive load, but their uncanny similarities as shooters and shot creators, and even defenders, makes them the most similar players to one another. Interestingly enough, the next most similar player to Curry is offensive juggernaut 2007 Gilbert Arenas, followed by 1998 Dana Barros and 2003 Chauncey Billups.
Just don't be loud, okay?
Next, I took a look at a player with the size and skills that we often see in all-time greats. The versatile wing that is Jason Tatum. Similar to his contemporaries of the past, Tatum can do just about everything.
There's nothing left in the cup, please. Stop, okay?
On the court at an elite level. He can score on all three levels, he can run an offense, has great defensive instincts, has the size and athleticism to turn most defenders into a mismatch.
Yo. Stop. There's nothing left in the cup. Paris. Thank you. Do that. You know.
And when I think of these traits, there's a lot of players that come to mind. But according to the Similarity app, the closest thing to Jason Tatum is 2010 Kevin Durant, with a similarity score of 83%. Looking at a young KD's metrics is almost like looking at some 2K creation with maxed out stats. Offensively, he didn't have a weakness, and his defensive metrics suggest he was fairly underrated on that side of the ball. And although not quite as staggering, Tatum's metrics paint a similar picture. A great shooter who can get to the line at will and can carry a team with his versatility and ability to create offense. The next most similar players to Tatum are 2007 Rashard Lewis, a young 2004 Tracy McGrady, and one of my favorite niche borderline stars of the 2000s, 2009 Danny Granger. Next, I wanted to take a look at one of the most polarizing stars in the league today, and a player with a game reminiscent of some of our favorites from the past, Ja Morant. When I watch Ja play, I can't help but to see a lot of young Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. It's the obvious comp, the springy, fast-twitch guard who can get to the rim whenever he wants, while keeping his elite playmaking skills intact. But what do the numbers say? Well, according to the Similarity app, the closest player to present-day
Why they make bro look like he 5'5"?
Ja Morant is actually a young Steve Francis with a similarity score of 83%. Both Morant and the franchise have questionable shot selection and are quite limited as stars in their specific role on offense, but they make up for it by being elite at that specific role, keeping defenses on their heels by getting to the line at an incredible rate despite their size. Excellent rebound.
Kobe Bryant, 2002. 2010 Tyreek Evans.
Bounders, and among
I'm doing something. I'll give you something to eat, okay?
the best at carrying an offense and creating open looks for their teammates. Of all the comps I've heard for Ja Morant, a young Steve Francis maybe came up once or twice, but it's a great comparison, and the numbers would agree. The next most similar players to Ja are 2002 Kobe, 2008 Brandon Roy, and 2010 Tyreke Evans. Now, thinking of comps for this next player has always been a tough task, since he has been truly a unicorn of a talent for the last decade and a half. And that's Kevin Durant. When he rose to stardom 15 years ago, there wasn't a single player like him. Fast forward, and to this day, there still isn't a single player quite like him. But if we are looking for size and an incredible shooting touch and elite offensive versatility, specifically akin to this older, more efficient version of Durant that we see today, then look no further than 2010 Dirk Nowitzki, who revolutionized the power forward position with his shot-making ability and has a similarity score of 84% with Kevin Durant. And across the board, Durant and Dirk share eerily similar offensive and defensive metrics. The main differences are Durant's absurd shooting efficiency and the fact that he handles the rock a bit more than Dirk did, which leads to a higher turnover percentage. But outside of that, they're a match. Big guys who can score on all three levels at an all-time rate, possess guard-like skills to be the centerpiece of an offense while maintaining the integrity of their 7-foot frame with rebounding and switchability. The next most similar players are 2011 Paul Pierce, 1987 Kevin McHale, and 1989 Tom Chambers. And for our last player comp, we have a player that has spent his entire career getting compared to a guy who plays nothing like him. In terms of success and greatness, LeBron and Jordan are the obvious yin and yang. But in terms of play style and on-court metrics, they aren't very similar at all. One is a jack of all trades with playmaking instincts. The other is a two-way pure scorer. To find the most similar player to current-day LeBron, we have to look for size and passing in an all-around scoring package, which, according to the Similarity app, is 1988 Larry Bird, with a similarity score of 84%. Now, looking at Prime Bird's metrics, you would think I made
And they standing the same too, Pete.
a mistake on this graphic, but I didn't. He was just that good. Virtually no weaknesses in his game, reaching at least the 95th percentile of all players in the league in the majority of these metrics. And although current-day LeBron isn't quite on this level, a 38-year-old LeBron remains one of the league's premier do-it-all players. The metrics suggest Bird was more efficient offensively with a low turnover rate and league-topping shot quality. But it's their offensive bandwidth, playmaking and passing excellence, and overall malleability where both LeBron and Bird find their real value. The next most similar players to current-day LeBron are 1996 Tony Kukoc, 2001 Rasheed Wallace, and 2005 Vince Carter. But this version of LeBron and this version of LeBron are seemingly two different kinds of players. So what happens if, instead of plugging older LeBron into
I was just about to say that. Plug the old.
the Similarity app, we search for the most similar players to a young LeBron? Well, our results change drastically. The most similar player to a 23-year-old LeBron is 1992 Scottie Pippen, with a similarity score of 87%. An elite defender with the size of a forward, the playmaking skills of a point guard, and the athleticism to get to the rim anytime and put pressure on the defense from anywhere on the court. The next most similar players to a young LeBron are 1997 Grant Hill, 2002 Tracy McGrady, and 1992 Clyde Drexler. And that
And then you got 1989 Michael Jordan. Don't skip that.
is 8 players and 9 of their most similar comps throughout NBA history, according to the numbers. Now, one of the most interesting things I discovered throughout this process is that some players of the past came up time and time again. Players like Dirk, McGrady, Grant Hill, KG were found to have a lot in common with many of the stars in today's league, confirming what we've all thought for years. These guys had the tools and the skills way ahead of their time.
Oh, man. Oh, shit.
To Luka, LeBron, Tatum, and even some other guys I ran through the app like Anthony Edwards. Dirk and KG were similar to nearly every star big I ran through the app, like Jokic, Embiid, AD, and Giannis. These guys excelled in a much different league 15, 20 years ago, and the metrics and similar scores suggest they have become the blueprint for most dominant big men in today's league. A testament to the path these two paved and just how much they changed the game. So there it is. What do y'all think? Are these comparisons accurate, or do the metrics need some adjusting? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, until next time.
Yeah, we video, man.